Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first webinar in the series of webinars that we organized for the eTwinning group members, digitally empowered teachers, as part of the digitalization LTA. So in this group, if you are not a member, and many of you have told us that you still have not joined, we invite you to do so. It is a group where we share interesting information about different topics of the digitalization LTA for teachers, for educators. And within this group, we also organize different online events as well. And here is the QR code that will lead you directly to the group, and also the Bitly link, so you can take a screenshot of this slide, even though the presentation will also be shared in the eTwinning group. And then please feel free to join. As mentioned, this is a series of 3 webinars, and today I'm very happy to welcome our AI and data expert, Lidija Kralj from Croatia. Lidija will talk about AI in education. In particular, are we running to or away from AI? Lidija is an education analyst, advisor, expert in data and AI in education. She works for European Commission, Council of Europe, European Schoolnet and UNESCO. I will stop sharing my slides now and will give the floor to Lidija, but I just want to say a few words about Lidija. Lidija is as I mentioned, international analyst and expert in data and AI in education, and a member of European Commission's working groups on artificial intelligence and data in education and training, and as well as digital education and safer internet. Lidija is UNESCO and Council of Europe expert group member on AI and education, and author of digital learning resources and textbooks. She is also an advisor and teacher trainer. She has been working at the Ministry of Science and Education in Croatia, where she led reforms in the area of digital education, learning analytics, database decisions in education, and comprehensive curricular reform. Lidija is e-learning and project manager and a lecturer in mathematics and computer science with 30 years of experience, and currently she works as a senior analyst at European Schoolnet. Lidija, you are very, very welcome to our webinar, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ariana. You didn't have to read all of that. Thank you for a lovely introduction. So, welcome everybody. I think that most of you answer to the first slide would be we are running towards the AI. Either we want or want, will or want to do it. So let me lead you through some magical things about the AI, or at least magic that they are trying to sell to us while describing options and possibilities of the AI. So they are trying to describe AI as a tool that could understand and solve problems faster, better than we are, that they could work on their own. They could make a teacher role more exciting. This is one of the sentences I really don't like. Of course, it could be 100% objective, saying that we teachers are not objective at all. Of course, when my background is mathematics, so when they say it is a unique immersion in the world of mathematics, is that, yeah, sure, our students are just waiting to be immersed like that. And of course, innovation, engaging, enjoyable experience, and of course, teacher dashboard, which lets you know everything that happens in your classroom, because it's not possible. I'm sorry to say, even if we combine the AI monitoring and the teacher monitoring, no, we won't gather all the information. And I'm still very much sure that the teacher as you are gather all relevant information just looking at your students and watching what they are doing in the classroom. What we find out very easily when the ChatGPT or a similar generative AI tool started to work is that it is very polite and it is fast. So most of us very politely say, could you give me information about this, please? And then we say, thank you. The joke is, let's just do it. We don't know what the future brings, just to be safe. Okay, this is Lydia who was very polite with me back then, so I won't kill her this time. But it's a joke, of course. The machine doesn't have emotions and doesn't think about us at all. I borrowed this definition from American paper because I find out it's very targeting education, because all the definitions we have in Europe are mostly focusing on a technical aspect. So to grasp the essence of artificial intelligence is that this technology is focusing on detecting patterns. It works on a basis of mathematics, on statistics, on probability, and giving you automation the answer, so recognizing the big sets of data, finding the most probable answer. So if we look back at the mentor that Mariana shared, and if we asked AI tool trained on that data set, that AI tool would say probably that you are coming from Croatia because the most participants are coming from the Croatia, and it will be completely wrong for the 80% of you, but it will just give the most probable answer which is in that data set. So have that in mind. Of course, I'm mainly talking about the ethical aspects of the AI, and we do have built such a protection, such a rights in UN documents, in UNESCO documents, UNICEF, European Commission. So have that in mind. So what UN says is precautions may be required depending on design, purpose, and uses of the technology. Do no harm. So have children's interests first when we are deciding about the technology. AI Act, which is soon to come, we are waiting for it for almost a year. AI Act have a little bit about the education. The most important part for us is that AI Act prescribed different levels of the risk of the AI tools, and education goes in the high level risk implications and use. So, oops, sorry, wrong button. This is a part from the AI Act. So when we are using such a tool to determine access or influence decision on admission on educational institution or next level of education, this is strictly high level. That means it has to be tested, monitored, approved before entered the implementation. All biometric, all scanning is prohibited within the European Union, especially in education. So when we talk about monitoring, detecting behavior of students, no way. When we talk about the assessment, if this is a high-stake assessment, if this is an assessment which decides someone's future, it's highly risky from the EU Act perspective. Have that in mind when you're using such a tool. I was one of the experts who work on the guidelines for use of ethical use of artificial intelligence and data in education. This guidance was published almost a year and a half ago. We were lucky to start working and finish it before generative AI burst, but I'm sure that the content of that guidelines could help you in assessing some of the tools, monitoring, deciding, thinking about what you are going to do. So From the ethical perspective, we often talk about key considerations, so human agency, fairness, humanity, justified choice, and of course, we talk about key requirements, 7 of them. Of course, I'm not going to read the document for you. Good thing is that the document is available in all EU country languages, so you could find it on your own language if it'd be easier to read. So these are some of the questions which leads us through the 7 key requirements. So for example, for human agency and oversight, are procedures in place for teachers to monitor and intervene? For transparency, do teachers and school leaders understand how specific assessment or personalization algorithms work within the AI system? Typical question which I ask my fellow colleagues in this area is, do you know how the algorithm behind Kahoot quizzes works? How it assigns points and decides who is first, second, or third, how it combines speed and the accuracy of the answers. Probably your answer would be no, I don't know either, but we should think about it when we are using in a highly risk situation. When we talk about diversity, are we sure that there are some procedures in place that do not lead to discrimination or unfair behavior? We are strongly aware, or should be aware, that bias is built in today's AI technology. Strong bias against females, against minorities, against small language sets. So have that special in mind, because the data sets on which are today's AI tools trained are almost 99% trained on the English language. So Australia, UK, US, and us coming from Croatia, which is a very small language, but this is similar for Hungary, for Romania, for Finland, for Sweden. So we are all in the same place, completely out of those data sets which are used for the training. When we talk about society, are students and parents involved in the decision? One of the lines that says, you have to support students and parents to understand that on the other side, a machine. So if they're using some of the chatbots, especially for mental health support and that soft areas, kids have to be aware that they are talking to a machine, not a human, not somebody with empathy and emotions. In privacy, this is the huge risk. What we are sharing, who have access to the data of us teachers, of the students, of the learning outcomes, of the results, of the behavior, very, very complex, even goes beyond the GDPR documents. Technical part, what if such a system fails? Will we lose all the data, all the decisions? Where will all that be saved and stored? Accountability. So for accountability, I think from a teacher's perspective should be quite clear. You can't say to parents, I'm sorry, but these computers give your student a 3 or a C or whatever grade you have. I have nothing to do with it. I'm sorry, but you do. So teachers are still accountable. So that means we have to be responsible for all the decisions that computer does instead of us in the process of learning and teaching. Some of the examples you could find in the guidelines which could lead you through assessing, through thinking about some of the tools. So you will find some examples of the questions which you could ask in a specific situation. This is just example of the chat. Okay, one of the tricky questions for you, it looks like very much as Mariana's questions at the beginning. So my question is what EDHEC means. Environmental data exchange, European disaster, European digital, empowering diverse. What would you say? Please put your ABCD in the chat. Let's see. How are you familiar with another European Commission 3-letter, 4-letter words? Yeah, of course. We are in a digital empowerment team, so this was not complicated for you. Of course, European Digital Education Hub, feel free, feel invited to join it as well. In EDHEC, I had an honor to lead the AI squad. So squad is a group of people working together on the areas of AI in education. And if you are interested, I think that the new AI squad will be formed this year as well. So the combination of the people there are teachers from all the levels of education. So from early childhood to higher education, EdTech, some experts. So maybe could be interesting for you to join. So last year we created a report, and I'm very proud that European Commission decided that this is quite interesting and high quality and publish it officially on their publishing services. So we dedicate our time to 7 topics, but there are many, many more we could talk about when we say about the AI. So we created an overview about the teachers' competencies, what framework are describing right now, what is future, what we could find in the Digicomp, what we could find in UNESCO frameworks, and so on, to help teachers acquire competencies. We suggested through, I'm sorry, I had a bad cold. We suggested some flowchart to lead you through the reports, to read some of the possible ways how to acquire those competencies. Then we had several examples of different tools, different scenarios, how to use existing tools. These scenarios and examples are from, let's say, April, May last year. We all aware that new tools are popping up every day. So, but some ideas you could get there. Then we talk about the curriculum for the students for primary, secondary, or higher level education. We share examples of some countries so you could see what is already existing, maybe could support you in development of a new curriculum in your countries as well. Then we talked about ethics, the law, the governance of the AI. And the last one is about the assessment, feedback, and personalization. I would say that my favorite is the last one, because after talking about different AI perspectives and the use for 5 months, we already came to some ideas, some conclusions. So you will find there some examples, some imaginary examples, and then the discussion, okay, what's the possible outcomes of such a use of the AI in our classrooms? So feel free to read it, all of them. One more document I would like to draw your attention is UNESCO's document from September last year. It talks about specifically about the generative AI and use in education. One of the key sentences at the beginning is, yeah, we are using such generative AI tools a lot. So we generate a lot of content with those tools. So all those new content, which is just created by the tool, so it's not original content from a database, is just polluting the internet. So if we continue in this rate, we will create more and more artificial content instead of original human created content. Could be. Or we are going to make AI tools more and more stupid in the next years if it learn from our creations. A lot of talk about the prompting. Prompt engineering is one of the marketing tricks of the AI, because there is nothing to do with the engineering. Be aware of that. The same thing for the hallucination. I'm sorry, this is just a marketing form, marketing word. Clearly said, sorry, these tools make an error, gives you false information. So yeah, it's lovely to call it hallucination. It's lovely to call it engineering, but it's just writing the keywords, just as you do in a Google search back then, 15 years ago. UNESCO proposed some steps but on a general, on a governance level, how to regulate generative AI. Some on government level, some on institutional level, and of course some on individual level. This concern all of us. So awareness of terms of reference. I know the terms of reference are big in a lawyer's language, but we should read it. Then strict ethical validation of generative AI applications before officially use in education. Then when you start to using, just monitor and report what is unlawful use. Build a mechanism for pedagogical, for meaningful use. So not just look on a technical aspect, but if we are using those technology, what's the point of it? Why we are using it? What are pedagogical benefits? And of course, be sure that do no harm to the students. Inform learners, inform parents, and we know that informed consent is a complex process, but if you want to use such a tool, you have to be aware of it and use it, of course. In that UNESCO guidance, you could find some examples, and they point out that the co-creation, co-designing is a future of useful, meaningful AI tools for the education. So they set up some ideas how to do it, how to get involved into it. I just put here examples, the similar as the first one, because it talks about the chat bot as a teaching assistant. So generative twins of a teacher's assistant. Quite interesting development. I hope this assistant will be useful. But they also said, yeah, possible risk. Need to guarantee human supervision of the responses, because you, human, are accountable, you are responsible. And the thing which I usually say about all this pre-programmed adaptive tool, personalized tool is be sure that you are not limiting learners' access. So we know that our students are learning from the peers, are learning from us. Can't everything be learned through technology? Some social interactions, some emotional interactions are significantly missing. So maybe this can't solve every problem, but maybe some of problems could be solved this way. For the last part of my presentation, this time I turn it upwards. So document theory. And now food for thought. When you are deciding which tool you are going to use, you tried this, you tried that. Oh, this is interesting, let's try. So we spend 1 hour, 2 hours, a few days testing something, and then, it doesn't work. It's not helping, but I tried to teach that tool. I tried to give more information, more rubrics, and at the end, I'm not happy. One of the recommendations was, okay, think about the process you would like AI to be used for, and then go for it. Don't try dozen things, because probably we're going to waste more time than do it by hand or do it on your regular way. So decide where are you wasting your time or where you could cut some time. Of course, is it return from all that work, all those time you invested in the tool, is it rewarding or not? Return on investment is one of the keywords for big corporations. For example, I could create this presentation with the AI tool, but I didn't. I could send some avatar talk to you, but I didn't do that. So my conscious decision was, okay, you deserve my time. You deserve real Lydia on this side, waving, talking, trying to share some ideas with you. This is my decision. So I decided to spend my time that way. So the similar thing for you and your students or with the colleagues. What deserves your time and your attention? You're the one who decide that, at least right now, because soon maybe you won't be in a position to make such a decision. Be aware of that. Same thing, I'm a member of several groups which talk about use of the AI in education. And when I read what teachers want to use AI, I said, okay, why did we went to the university? Did you learn something at that university? Because if we are going to keep and ask everything from the AI, oh, then we doesn't need university level at all, or secondary school maybe. So are we intentionally de-skilling ourselves? Are we going to forget how to do some things? For examples, adaptation of the content. It is lovely, but that tool doesn't know your students. So adaptation could be done on a general level, but you have to be able to use that content and make it perfect for the students in your classroom. You can't rely on a tool it is. So are we going to forget how to do that? How to do grading, how to create rubrics. I know that some tools are excellent for the creation of rubrics, but do we know the theory of the assessment, which is behind the rubrics, and do we know, are we happy with the rubrics that tool is serving to us? So you think about that. We don't have big evidence on the use of the AI. It's a new technology. It's just entering the education. So whatever you hear, it's based on a small samples. It's based on 50 students. It's based on 3 schools. None of those is a huge research because it can't be done yet. So just when you read some of those information, use your critical mind, use your critical thinking skills, and think about what is in the background and how it reflects to your real content. On most of the tools, you will see the line saying it is for the adults, for 18 plus. You have to be at least 13 to use such a tool. So those tools are not created for the kids, be clear. For Croatia, for example, level is even 18. For most of the EU, 16. US has that level of 13 plus. Be aware of that. So that means that interfaces are not created for the students in most cases. And even when you transfer it from the American perspective to the European, you might be doing something illegal in your country. Be aware. I'm saying that be aware so many times. I apologize for that. Also, most of the AI tools, unfortunately, didn't hire teachers to support them through development of the processes. Because, come on, every developer have been in the schools, survived primary, secondary, tertiary education. They know everything how to do, how to deliver teaching and learning. So they may be embedded poor pedagogical practices. But sometimes some alliances are created from the universities for the research perspective, from the teachers, from the school for a pedagogical perspective, then from technology to create a group of people that could think about several aspects of those tools. On a recent webinar, I held it for the art teachers. They asked me, okay, what about the use of all those artworks, poems, pictures in the generative AI tools for creating something new? Well, you actually are breaking intellectual property rights. This is a very, very slippery area because some of those tools are created just to sweep and use whatever is available. Doesn't matter, do they have a right to use such a creations or not, and create something new upon it. Lots of data is collected. We don't know how it's used. And of course, although I am mathematician, not everything could be described through numbers. We are all aware of it. And please don't be afraid of a tool. This is just a tool. And we are empowered to change it or use it. So what will you think? What do you think about the collection of the data? What are we thinking from us from teachers in such a tools, what we are sharing from the students. Is that personalization okay for our students? So students make errors and the system keep them on the several level of the tasks, or if the student is successful, system will give her or him more complex tasks. But we know from our everyday practice that sometimes we need to push students a little bit, or have a fellow student who will support efforts, or maybe give some set of lighter tasks just to raise their self-esteem and then make a progress. This is something we do on everyday basis in our classroom. Can't be sure the tool will do it with our monitoring and supporting. Regarding the assessment, I read in one of the blog, yeah, the computer assessment is very fast. It gives feedback automatically, instantly. But I do like when my teachers say something about work, because that means the teachers care about my work. Sometimes automatic feedback is great, is efficient, is very quickly available, but sometimes we have to appreciate the students and give that a human touch. So some combinations. Also predictions. I don't know how many times I told that joke. If we measured my future by the set of the data of my grades in the secondary schools, then my set of the grades would tell you, no, Lydia will never talk in English language, not write in English language, because I had almost lowest grade in English language in the secondary schools. And then I ended up making lots of mistakes on the webinars and writing papers in the English. But have that in mind when predictions are in place on the AI tools, because all of the predictions are created on historical data. So something what already happened, and we can't predict everything from the data sets we already have. Of course, which is very popular, I asked Bing Chat what he, she, it thinks about are we running. Yeah, very interesting, needed dialogue. According to some sources, considerable potential to bring educational forward. Wow, we're going to move away. But questions about data privacy, accountability, that's something I mentioned. Oh, this is just for fun, and this is just for me saying, yeah, you have a real lady on the other side, not some avatar. What is our role? What will be our role? This example talks about the GPS system navigation. We all use it on our mobile phones, but I do hope that you turn your brain on as well with the navigation systems before you end up in a lake or on a bridge that doesn't exist. So if we follow that AI decision and take wrong turn, okay, we just had few more minutes, hours of traveling. But what if make a wrong turn with our students? So this is quite huge impact. I shared here a link for the one of the Erasmus Plus projects, which just finished. And it has a textbook and an online course in several languages. So maybe it could help you also develop your competencies for the AI. One of the slide I am not agree with, but it is here just to put some things in your head. So are we sure that these things that are listed on the 4 side are real? Are we sure that it will save our time, that these virtual assistants are good? That continuous evaluation and gathering of all the data is good answer, because every statistician or a data analyst in a big corporation would say to you, more data, more data, more data, and we will make a better decision. Nah, we have more data and still poor decisions, because nobody decides, for example, on a PISA results, yeah, okay, we were good, we were bad this time, what we are going to do? Nothing, but we have a lovely set of data. And of course, the threats, dependence of technology. So you make your own list. I'm not going to ask for you to make it right now, but think about it. This is from one of the Facebook. And if we intentionally deskilling or unintentionally deskilling ourselves, if we are using technology to do our work, how are we going to end? Are we going to have a very dark scenario where human teachers are available only to rich, and poor, like we all are, will just have machines to teach the future generations? So who will be future teachers? Me or AI? Well, that's all blah, blah, blah talk from me. Hvala means thank you in Croatian. I will stop sharing and give options to all of you to ask the question. So, Ariana, back to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Lydia, so much for sharing your really vast knowledge and experience, and also for sharing caution and being realistic and down to earth, unlike some of us who are more enthusiastic about using the tools. But yeah, it's really, really important to see and understand what the use of AI really brings to our students and our teachers. And as you mentioned, we would like you to write questions in the chat, or if you want, you can also turn on your microphones. While we are waiting, I would like to ask you a couple of questions that we have received in the eTwinning group. So thank you to Beata and Christiane who shared their questions. And I think this one that Beata shared builds up very, very nicely on the topic that you mentioned on intentional de-skilling for teachers. But Beata has a question about students. So what will happen to these young kids who cheat themselves by believing that AI can master their tasks in no time and with even better results? What are some negative repercussions on the acquisition of competences? And she is afraid that it will also breed a generation of young people who do no longer trust in their own competences and will lose confidence in what they do, since they know their work could be enhanced by the use of AI. And she thinks that it will be even more challenging for teachers to endow their pupils with deeper thinking skills. So what do you think about it, Lydia?
I will just start from the back. I think that those generation of students will have a high self-esteem because they will think they could do anything because they have an AI in her hands. So yeah, there is a real risk. I think the risk could be prevented. You remember when the calculators entered the school, but we are still teaching multiplication tables. We are still teaching adding, subtracting. We are still teaching poems by heart, but we have to be aware why we are using such a methodological approaches, what are the skills, what are the competencies we would like to raise among our students. It's not just learning multiplication tables, it's just use in a future reference. I think that we should put focus away from the cheating, because the cheating was the first thing in the focus of the AI. Everybody jumped, they will cheat. Of course they will. They're cheating with the calculators, they're cheating with the Google search, they're cheating with the libraries, with the pen and papers. Yeah, this is a typical learning process, but they're learning something into it. So let's think about the assessment, which will ask for a complex level of the competencies, of the results. And yes, include AI tools, but teach students to recognize which is true, which is not true. For example, if we ask the AI tool to create set of the tasks for any topic in our subject. We have enough experience to see if those tasks are relevant, if they are correct or not. But students will just take it and put it in their work. I know that in Croatian language, when we ask them, yeah, find some information on the internet, they usually copy things from Wikipedia, but not Croatian language Wikipedia. So on a first glance, you could say, I'm sorry, this is just rubbish. You just copy paste it. So it will happen in our classrooms as well. So yes, our responsibility would be higher, but I think we already learned something in the process when web search tools and when different technology enters. So use technology as a support tool, but not as a solution, but show it with your example as well. I hope I answer at least some parts of it, Ariana. You put 10 questions in one.
Yes, yes. We are very happy to have you here. So we want to hear from you. Yeah, indeed, I agree. So critical thinking skills are even more important than ever before, really. And so teaching to think critically is one of the really important missions, I would say, for teachers in the classrooms today. And also maybe another question by Beata about homework. So does that mean you mentioned some new types of assignments that students should be given? Does that mean that homework should become obsolete? Would you say that teachers should not assign homework?
Are we sure that we need homework as an institution in our schooling? I don't know. This is, I think, more pedagogical questions than the questions of the AI. I'm not sure anymore. Is homework as it's built in our mind, in our training to be a teacher, is like that necessary or not? It's a question for our thinking. So I don't have an answer for that, but it's not problem of the AI technology. Homework is something we really need that, or maybe we have some other ways to do it.
Yeah, so it's up to us, each of us, to decide whether they assign homework or not. Yes, Mariana, please go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question too, because I was listening to and agreed with a lot of things, and I've been thinking a lot since I have teenage kids at home. So it's a very current topic that we have to deal with every day, especially that one of them is using a laptop in the school every day. So he gets his homework, his assignments, everything on the laptop, and even at the classes they use it. So it is a constant problem all the time that they are using it for everything. And instead of communicating with one another in the break between the lessons, they are sitting in front of the screen and not doing anything else. But my question is, doesn't it all come back to the same conclusion that we had with digital tools in general? So we should use AI, but only if it has pedagogical added value. Because if it's only for the sake of using AI, then I wouldn't agree with using it in the classroom. So if I have, if I can do something more with the AI than I could do without it, then I should use it. But for example, I'm originally a literature teacher, sorry, a teacher of literature. And I'm not sure I would use it every class, because there are a lot of things that I would try without it. So pedagogical added value is the key.
Absolutely, and completely agree with you. It's the same dilemma we had with the technological tools. But when those technological tools, so ICT tools, let's say it in general, we didn't have so much ethical dilemmas with those tools, because they are not so intruding, not so invasive as the AI. But the questions for the use in education are completely the same. You have to answer for yourself. Why are you using it? How it support development and achievement of the learning outcomes? Is it appropriate for those students? Do you have all the rights and all the licenses? So yes, I would use for my mathematics everything. So pen and paper, scissors, glue, whiteboard, tablets, computers, because I like using the different kind of the technology. So whatever suits the best to achieve learning outcomes, this is the answer from pedagogy. Sometimes it is AI tools, sometimes it's a pen and paper, but we shouldn't be afraid of one or the other. There is a strong and significant wave coming right now saying that all the use of digital technology in education is wrong, but this is not true. We know when digital technology of any kind could support learning and teaching processes, and sometimes is not. But saying, yeah, we ban everything, mobile phones, smartphones, tablets, computers, AI, we ban everything, and we doesn't have a solution for that. So banning was never the answer. Learning is.
Thank you very much. So again, it is up to the teacher to decide what to use, technologies or non-technological tools, because the teachers know their students best. And we have another hand raised. Armanda, please feel free to turn on your microphone and let's hear from you.
Yes, hello. Thank you very much for the very good presentation. So I'm new to the group and I'm very happy to be here. I was wondering, and maybe you said it before, I'm not sure. I was wondering, so using AI tools or tools that are based on AI is one thing, and I might think that it's also important because we prepare the children for the work market, for the job market, and once they land there, it will be there, right? There will be tools too, so they must have met it before. And so my question is, would you also recommend like having a class in the curricular teaching about things that you told us today, like making them aware of, hey, this is how it works, right? Not only double check the information that they get to get a more critical spirit. I think that's one thing that's very important, but also same as for social media. And it's myself, I also have a teenager at home. It's so fast, I can't even not keep track of what she's using, right? So would you recommend that same as for teachers, as we are more aware about how this functions? Is that something, do you think that could be helpful?
First, yes. Second, OECD had one of the research, I think 2 years ago. They found out that for some jobs, high level of AI skills would be needed, but there is a huge percentage of people that only some general level of AI tools will be needed, or a quite low level. In UNESCO, we are also working on the framework for student competencies for the AI. So I just opened the table while you were asking. So this framework covered the area of human-centered mindset, so about the people, society, environment, ethics of AI, AI techniques and applications, and AI system design, and describe it through 3 levels. So the combination of teaching students some of the ethical aspects, as I mentioned to you, but also some practical aspects about the algorithms, collaboration, how AI solve the problems, but also human agency, human accountability and guiding principles, and of course, security biases and so on. So definitely, yes, we need something like that in our curriculums, even from lower grades, maybe embedded in some subject or a part of informatics or computer science, some easier, some lower levels of the competencies of learning outcomes when students are young, and then raising it to more complex, for example, modeling, visual representation, programming skills and so on for those who will dedicate it their career maybe for the use of AI? The answer is yes, we need it for us teachers, maybe more on a general level or on a more complex level if we are going to teach such a subject to the students, but also definitely necessity for the students as well.
Thank you, Lydia. Thank you, Armanda, for this great question. And we have a question by Pasi. Pasi, can you please join us here on the stage? Hello, it's great to hear you and see you. And Lydia, you know each other, right?
Yeah, thanks, Lydia. This is wonderful. This whole presentation was just music in my ear. So, and thanks all the posts on the LinkedIn you have. So you also follow Lydia there. But one question about I want to really kind of point out and maybe provocate a bit. The question was very good that who will teach our kids in the future? And I'm a bit worried that the answer could be AI, because we don't have enough teachers in all subjects in all schools. And that may be the case, or even if we have a teacher, so anyhow, students will learn a lot of things by using AI or by AI. Of course, big companies want to reach the students, so all the citizens by AI. And I see the biggest problem here is that then students are kind of low-level consumers of AI, not kind of the subjects of learning. And I think that it's very scary that students will be more or less only the objects of learning, not the subjects, if AI will be implemented not pedagogically wisely. And one thing I think that maybe Lydia, you could elaborate. So how can we tackle this problem with teaching our kids computational thinking? So how to enhance the skills in computational thinking, maybe step by steps now in schools.
When I heard first ad from a corporation that AI will fix the teacher shortage problem, my answer is, I'm sorry, but this is not the way how to solve teacher shortage problem by putting some technology instead of the human teachers. Sorry, give better wages to the teachers, give more support to the teachers. That will solve the problem, not putting a technology. Regarding the computational thinking, you know, my favorite topic, even with combination with the AI or not, we know that from unplugged activities, we could support development of computational thinking from early age. To do so, we need support. We need teachers who are trained in those areas, of course. Another level of the shortage, because those who know how to work with the computers will live for better places. But so the coding wave, the robotic wave, now the AI literacy, computational thinking, I think all those waves show to us that we could do that in schools in different conditions. So extracurricular activities, some small groups, some primary level teachers supporting students from cross unplugged activities, cross coding activities. I know that Ariana has at least 200 examples to back up my talking about it, but I agree with you, Pasi, computational thinking, although it sounds too seriously, is one of the set of the skills which actually is part of the AI literacy and the future. Yeah, support for us and support for our students. I invite you to check out this. The student framework is not publicly available yet, but I think you will be happy with all the set of the competencies that are built into it, and hopefully will be seen in our classrooms soon. And thank you for following me. Good to exchange ideas online.
Thanks a lot. Mariana, please go ahead.
Thank you. I don't want to hog the limelight. So if anyone has any other questions, then feel free, because we are here to discuss this very interesting topic. And I'm very grateful for Pasi as well. And I wanted to tell the others who might not know him that he represents the Salto Digital, which is another resource center hosted by the Finnish National Agency. So if you want to know more about the topic, digitalization, then it is also a place to go. I mean their website, so you could check it out too. I will share all this with you after the webinar, okay? My question, based on what Pasi just said, that maybe in the future our kids will be taught by AI. I was wondering a lot how AI exactly works, and I'm not an information scientist, so my understanding of this is very simple. But I heard that it's a kind of large language modules, as they call them. So I imagine them as a mass of texts that are fed into them, aren't they? So I was wondering, and my question is that, is it possible to imagine in the future that we feed the entire human knowledge into it? I mean, the textual knowledge, I mean libraries. And would it make it better? Because you mentioned hallucination. I read about it and I use ChatGPT, so I have encountered it as well. So I was wondering, is it because it doesn't have the knowledge that we as humankind have? And yes, isn't it, if American corporations decide about the texts that they feed into the AI, isn't it the danger in this? So that's my question. Don't we lose our knowledge, our human knowledge, if we let them decide what to feed into the AI? I hope I made myself clear.
Yeah, it is actual risk. You know that I said at some point that current databases are created from the English resources. So all the literature from Hungary is not there. So that experience, that knowledge is not there. Let's get back to the beginning. So some of the tools you are using right now are not AI tools at all, but it's a very trendy word. So most of the quizzes you use for a formative assessment are not AI tools at all. They are just use simple mathematics and statistics in the background, very simple, without any huge database, without any decisions and the making. If you want to use some of or such tools dedicated to education, then you create specific database. You don't use general ChatGPT, you create specific database. I've seen examples of that in Singapore, in Korea. So they are feeding those large language models with their textbooks. So with a textbook, set of the textbooks, so already approved content, already reviewed content. So all the things that go inside will be correct. And then it's easier to get correct information built upon that. So some summarization, some following, and so on. Singapore is on a very high level of using such tools. They're using it for language and using it for mathematics. So students could use it independently with the support of the teachers. So, and when we talk about the adaptivity and personalization in such tools, so the tool collects data from students who are using it. So our 20 students are using it and it marks, okay, this task was too complex, only a few students solve it. This is easier. Okay, these students solve ABCD quite easy. Okay, I have pre-programmed algorithm which says, okay, if solves ABCD, give them F and so on. So the adaptivity monitors data that are actually set into it. I know few of such EdTech created in France, but they are not based on that wild large language models, because that would be useless for such education. So sometimes you have to be cautious when they say, yeah, it's AI. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's not AI, it's just usual statistic percentages and monitoring how the results are changing. So the monitoring the progress of the students and giving responses for that. I mentioned that in UNESCO guidance, one of the line is, yes, AI is creating a lot of garbage. It's polluting the internet. That's the way of, okay, if we are going to produce more and more false, fake results, more wrongful texts, how it will end up, I don't know. So some decision, if you want to use some such models in education, what are you feeding into that system is really response how to do it quite good. I think that some countries, especially in the Europe, start to do that. If I'm not mistaken, Sweden started to develop their large language model exactly because of the specifics, because English dataset can't answer the Swedish issues. And I think the other countries from the Nordic also joining and feeding and building such models and such tools. To answer the part of me, are we running towards or away? I would say don't feel rushed.
Yes, okay, so let me just show you once again the link and the QR code to the Digitally Empowered Teachers eTwinning group. And once again, we kindly invite you to join us and share your knowledge, experience, and expertise around different topics. So AI is one of the topics that we discuss in this group. Very soon we will welcome another expert also from Croatia, Marijana Smolčec. She is an expert in digital inclusion, so she will share her experience and tips on how to use digital tools for personalization of student learning. And then in May, Eva Toth, a teacher from Hungary, will talk about project-based learning. So this is our last slide. Thank you for your attention and see you on the 19th March. Lydia, are you there?
Lydia is back, yes.
Yeah, I don't know. Teams just shut down and kicked me
yeah.
out. I probably talk too much. I'm sorry.
No,
It's okay,
Lydia,
it's okay.
Lydia, I just said that we are so very thankful to you for your really insightful and eye-opening talk. And it's really been a huge pleasure to listen to you and to thank you so much for sharing your experience and expertise. And we are very grateful that you joined us today. Marijana.
Thank you all.
Yes.
Yeah,
Marijana.
Thank you, Ariana. I just wanted to tell you two more things, and I'm really grateful for Lydia as well and all the others who have been with us. If you have any more questions, feel free to put it in the chat, and I'm sure we will find some way to answer your questions. And also, I hope to see you on March the 19th. And I will send you two things if you agree. And I would like to ask those who don't want to get anything from me to put it in the chat as well, because it happens sometimes that people don't want it. It will be on the eTwinning as well. So I will send you the presentation from today. I will send you the Menti slides, and also I will send you a very short, like 1 minute evaluation form, a survey about today's webinar. So I would be really grateful. It helps us a lot to know, was it useful today for you? What did you miss? What did you like? And so on, so we can improve our next session. So thank you very much for being here with us today.
Thank you and bye-bye.